Hi children, welcome back to our political science class. In the federalism chapter, we're discussing about the language policy. In this language policy, we are discussing about the English now. So English act as a medium of communication between central and state or interstate government work because many non-Hindi speaking states demanded that the use of English to continue for communication between center and state. So, the flexibility shown by the Indian political leaders helped our country to avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka finds itself in. So, you need to learn three languages in your school children. The first one is English, and the second one is Hindi, the third one is our state language. That's why first language, second language, and English you are learning compulsorily in the school. Now let's see the center state relationship. How the center and state used to maintain relationship. Let's see. So in the very beginning, India had only one party, that is Congress party, as you all know very well. So for a long time, this Congress party only ruled the center and state. It means the central government also Congress party only formed the government, and the state governments also the same party only formed the government. So this did not allow state government to exercise their rights as autonomous federal units. Autonomous means what? Independently. So they don't have independent rights of their own. Means state governments, they don't have rights of their own. They're not independent. But afterwards, slowly local parties came up in states like Telugu Desam Party in our Andhra Pradesh and Anna DMK in Tamil Nadu likewise. So these local parties also participated in contested in the elections and won in the elections in some states. But the central government did not treat them properly. And sometimes or very often central government misused the constitution to dismiss the state government. It means by taking the loopholes in the constitution, it tried to dismiss the state government. But this situation had changed in 1990 because no single party had majority in the center. So due to this reason, many parties together formed the government by giving their support. So from then, the era of coalition government had started. I hope you all know about the coalition government, children. Coalition government is nothing but the government which is formed with the help or assistance by the other parties. So now the coalition government had to share its power. Had to means what? Compulsorily had to share because they have supported this government now. That's why they have to share the powers among the other parties who supported the government. So from then onwards, state government ruled autonomously and became powerful. And now the central government could not dismiss the state government, and it became difficult for central government to do so. Okay, now let's see what is decentralization. Decentralization. What's the meaning of decentralization, children? It's nothing but taking some of the powers from the central government and the state government and given to the local government. Once again, I repeat, some of the powers were taken from the central and state government and were given to local government. The basic idea behind decentralization is that there are a large number of problems and issues which are best settled at the local level because the local people have better knowledge of problems in their localities. What problems you are facing in your locality, how do Modi knows? How do the Jagan knows? So that's why they have shared their powers to the local government. Okay. So besides, it is possible for the local people to directly participate in the decision making also. So local people only contest as the what children as the leaders in the elections. So they can participate in decision making also. Now let's see the decentralization in India. A major step towards decentralization was taken in 1992. The very beginning there is no decentralization, but in 1992 they have taken a step for decentralization, and now it became constitutionally mandatory. Once it is not compulsory, but now it became compulsory as per the constitution to hold regular elections to the local government also. So once the elections used to be held only for the central and state government only, but not for the local government. But now from 1992, since 1992, We are conducting elections for the local governing bodies also. The constitution was amended to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. The constitution made the third tier of democracy, it means the local government, more powerful and more effective. Seats were also reserved for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and other backward classes from BC, OBC, likewise. So from SCs, STs and OBCs or BCs children, they have reservation for what children contesting in the elections. So some seats were reserved for those castes. And at least 3/3 of all the positions were reserved for the women. Even women also can participate. So especially for the women, 1/3 of the seats were reserved. An independent institution called the State Election Commission will conduct panchayat and municipal elections. So panchayati level and municipal level, a state election commission is there. It's an independent body. It will conduct the elections. So what's the meaning of independent body? That means government cannot control it. Okay, government has no control over the state election commission. Okay, now let's see the local government children. Local government. So rural local government is probably popularly known as Panchayati Raj. What's that? It's popularly known as Panchayati Raj. So each village or a group of villages in some states has a Gram Panchayat. Sometimes a group of villages will have one panchayat, one Gram Panchayat, or sometimes a big village. Each village will have a Gram Panchayat. So this is a council consisting of several ward members. This is a council consisting of several ward members. So often we can call them as Panch. So these ward members are called what children? These ward members elect some heads of the wards. Those are called Panch. And they'll be having a president also. We can call them as Sarpanch. Okay. So the Gram Panchayat consisting of what children? Members called Panch and Sarpanch. So the Panch and Sarpanch are directly elected by the adult population living in that ward or in a village. Okay. I repeat. So the Panch or Sarpanch are directly elected by the people, adult population in that village and in those wards. So children, now let's see the working of Panchayati system. Okay. Well, you must understand that decision making body for the entire village, the Panchayat works under the overall supervision of the Gram Panchayat. So it means what's the working of Panchayat system means the decision making body. So how the decision making body for the entire village will take in place in this Panchayat will comes under working of Panchayat system. So all the Panchayat works under the overall supervision of Gram Sabha. So for Panchayats, they'll be having a Gram Sabha, and all the members of that village, all the voters of that village are the members of Gram Sabha. So it has to meet at least twice or thrice in a year. How many times did they have to meet, children? At least twice or thrice. To approve the annual budget of the Gram Panchayat and to review the performance of the Gram Panchayat. To approve the annual budget means what, children? How much amount of money they have got as income and how much money they have spent on which things or for the development of which things. So that performance will be discussed in the Gram Sabha. And now let us understand the structure of the rural government. Well, first of all, a few Gram Panchayats are grouped together to form what is usually called a Panchayat Samiti or Block Samiti, or we can also call Mandal. Okay, the members of this representative body, it means that is Panchayat Samiti, are elected by all the Panchayat members in that area. So all the Panchayat Samitis or Block Samitis or Mandals in a district together constitute the Zilla Parishad. Got it, children? So all the Mandals or Block Samitis together constitute Zilla Parishad. And the Zilla Parishad chairman is the political head of the Zilla Parishad. Okay, now let us understand the simple example over here. So now suppose if I take our state Andhra Pradesh, it is divided into 13 districts. Each district is called Zilla. So for each district there will be a Zilla Parishad. So this Zilla Parishad or this district is divided into blocks or Panchayat Samitis. and these panchayat samitis are further divided into gram panchayats. So for gram panchayat we'll have a panch and sarpanch, then we'll have a panchayat samiti or block samiti, it will have a chairman. Then again we'll have a Jilla Parishad which will have a chairperson. So now this was the local rural government or local self government in rural areas. Now let us understand the urban local government or urban local self government. Similar local government bodies exist for urban areas as well. Municipalities are set up in the towns and municipal corporations are set up in the big cities. In towns, municipalities will be there, they'll be set up, and in the big cities, municipal corporations will be set up. So both the municipalities and the municipal corporation are elected by the elected bodies consisting of people's representative. So municipalities or municipal corporations are elected by the people of that particular areas. Okay. So then municipalities has a chairperson as a head and municipal corporation will have a mayor as a head. So that's all for today. With this I conclude this chapter, children. Thank you.